You're listening to an AINC original podcast. We believe you don't have to do life without a compass. Let us be your guide on this amazing journey. Welcome to Navigating Life with Vision Loss.
Hello, I'm Kim Wardlow, your host for Navigating Life with Vision Loss. We're here providing you resources to help you get through your everyday. And today we are excited. We're starting our month of August. It's already, summer has flown by. It's already back to school time, or nearly, depending on when your school starts. And so this month we are going to start talking about education, preparing for school, whether they're grade school kiddos or you're starting college. So we're going to be covering lots of things this month. But today we are going to start by talking to Cindy Price. She is an educator with extensive experience in K through 12 teaching, administration, and higher education. She specializes in working with diverse, underserved populations and excels in culturally responsive curriculum development. Cindy is also a dynamic public speaker, a theater director, and committed to fostering collaborative and supportive learning environments. So welcome, Cindy. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. It's so great to be here. This time of year is always super exciting when you get all your new school supplies and plan for a successful year for teachers and students both. And parents too, probably.
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody is scrambling a little bit and excited and nervous all at once. So we're going to start by talking about advocating for students at the start of the year, and then the importance of communication and preparation. So as you're trying to set up your students for success, all the things that you can do in advance to try to set that up well for the beginning of the year. Cindy, do you want to share a little bit about your experience and your work with underserved populations in the education system?
Sure. I have had the opportunity to work in several different types of situations, from traditional public school, private schools, charter schools, and even homeschooling my own children for several years. When I was an administrator, I had the opportunity to work closely with the special education team and make sure that we were covering all the bases to help all of our many different types of needs for our students in our education system. As a mom, I also have a son, one of my twin boys, who had a vision impairment that I learned a lot trying to help our son, and it really helped me gain a lot of insight as a parent that I could transfer to my administrative work when I was helping the special education team. Currently, I'm a professor at Metro State University and working in the alternative licensure program there. That's a program for teachers who have, or people who have been in a different career and are wanting to come back to teach and work with kids of all different ages. So it's a super, super fun, exciting career that I absolutely love.
Wow, that's great. Well, that is a lot of different types of experiences that you've had over the years. So I'm sure you'll have a wealth of information for us working with all the different types of students, and even your own children, having a son with vision loss. So that obviously is our primary focus with navigating life with vision loss. What do you see as the school year begins? What do you see as some of the key challenges that are faced by students and by their parents, but by students as they're starting the school year?
Yes, this is a great one, because I can tell you for sure what keeps kiddos awake at night, and that is knowing how to do their locker combination. That's the number one thing. Kids lose so much sleep about that. Like, where's my locker? How am I going to do the combination? But they also worry about where's my classroom? How am I going to find it? How am I going to navigate the hallway? Where are the restrooms, the cafeteria, the library, those kinds of things. Those are some of the things that all kids worry about and become kind of stressed about, but especially our kiddos with vision impairment, because trying to find numbers on classrooms, navigating hallways and other students in the hallways, and even like books that have fallen on the floor, finding their desk in their classroom. Some of those things present extra challenges for our kiddos with vision impairment. They also, some of the things that students struggle with that are probably going to need some support with is being able to read and navigate their schedule, especially at the middle school and high school and even in college level. If they will need some sort of a schedule that is easy for them to see and understand the times. And then, of course, schools do not make it easy on anybody, because then there's the assembly schedule and there's the early release schedule. So finding a way to help our students navigate the different types of schedules and when those are going to happen is something that we need to be aware of and kind of be prepared for. Some of the things that we can do to help with that is giving our students an opportunity to go to the school in advance and maybe be able to walk through the building, practice with their locker, and find all of their classrooms ahead of time.
Are the schools receptive to that? Is that a common practice where they have time where students can come in and do that, or is that a special request that parents need to make?
Well, absolutely. Schools are very open to that, especially when they know that the child needs additional support. They will bend over backwards to make sure that the child can get there. So calling the school and just setting up a time to meet with either any of their teachers or an administrator or the school counselor, any of those people are going to be more than happy to help. And they can go over the schedule with mom and dad and student together and kind of like go over that and what that looks like, and then walk from class to class like they are actually going from first period to second period and all of the different classes, and then show them where the library, restrooms, cafeteria, and even the outdoor spaces, which kids are going to want to be able to navigate. Where's playground equipment? Where are trash cans? Where's the entrance back to the school? So helping students, giving them that time ahead of time is hugely helpful. Also, I had mentioned the lockers before, which is all kids is like terrifying experience.
Yeah, and you're so embarrassed if you have trouble with it. And the more trouble you have, the more nervous and panicked you get, and the harder it is to get it open.
I know. And then, as adults, we are still dreaming about not being able to remember our locker number. It's a traumatic experience. So being able to let our kids practice with the locker, the combinations, and also, for those children that have the vision impairment, the numbers on the locker are very, very small. So you can work with a custodian sometimes to get a different type of lock, or set up a different system for your child, such as storing their stuff in the office or with their homeroom teacher in a cabinet if they're having trouble seeing the little numbers on the dial. Mm-hmm. So just being aware that there's creative solutions, that your child can still keep their belongings safe. They could also, sometimes the lockers, you can put a little lock that has the key on it. Mm-hmm. The child can have a key type thing to their locker. It kind of depends on the style, but that's an idea as well.
Yeah, and being able to do that well ahead of time gives you time if you need to think of some creative solutions. So there's not a panic on the first day of school. Or
Absolutely.
And even though it will feel different with lots and lots of kids around you walking through, just being able to say, okay, I know the path to get to this room. Could see where that would be so helpful, especially as you get crowds around you. And it might be a little confusing to have done that ahead of time and feel really confident.
Yes. You can also set up with the school or the teacher for the first however long it's needed to have like a buddy that walks with the child to each class. So they may have people that have similar schedules or could help them with their locker. And that can be set up ahead of time. It's always great to have other children like take a leadership responsibility and take a leadership role by being a buddy to somebody who needs additional support with vision.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes best friends are made that way.
I was going to say it could be a great way to make a friend too.
Absolutely.
If a parent isn't sure, they know their child may need some extra assistance, but how do they actually go about getting an assessment or bringing the school on board so they know what the specific needs are of that particular child and can coordinate everything with the school?
Right. Well, with vision, there's a couple of different ways that vision causes a problem for kids. First of all, there's the actual issues with the eyeball itself, the cornea and all of that kinds of things. Mm-hmm. But there are also some vision issues like what my son had that really have more to do with brain processing than with the physical eye, mm-hmm. so to speak. And so when we found that our son was having trouble, I had noticed that when he was reading a book or trying to read a book, he would tilt the book sideways, and then he would tilt his head sideways, and then he'd tilt the book some more, and then his head some more, and he kept tilting it until he was all the way upside down in the chair.
Oh, wow.
And then I also noticed when he was reading that he'd read part, and then he would lose his place and couldn't find where the sentence was. Mm-hmm. He just would lose his place real easily. So, of course, we took him to a regular eye doctor, and the eye doctor said there was absolutely nothing wrong with his vision. It was clear, and he could, pick out all the letters and all of that. And so he recommended that we see a vision therapist. And actually, I had never heard of a vision therapist. And so we just looked it up online and found a really great one. And we got our son there. And I'll tell you what, we learned so much. And it was so helpful because what was happening with our son was the two sides of the brain were not actually communicating. He was a preemie. And so the connections between the right side and the left side weren't really talking to each other. And it's really important that both sides of the brain are talking to each other because you have to have both sides of the brain in order to be a good reader. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is as you start reading on the left side of the page, you read across to the center, and then the left side of your brain picks up to read the right side of the page. So you have to use both sides of your brain in order to read across a line of material. And that's what was really a struggle for our son.
That's why he was losing his place and not being able to find it.
Exactly. And also the vision therapist was able to show us that right in the center of a page or whatever, there was a big gap. So he could see the words on the left, like the first 3 or 4 words, and then there was a big space, and then he could see the last ones on the right side. Mm-hmm. And so they started a program with him and did the vision therapy. And it was just fascinating, the things that we learned. And so when a parent is starting this process of trying to support their child in school, it's really important that we watch our kids and see what are we noticing? What are we noticing when they're drawing or when they're running, or even when my son was trying to play soccer and it was time for him to kick the ball, he would stand in front of the ball and jump up and down on both feet. And the reason was because his brain couldn't figure out which foot to kick the ball with yet, because he was having trouble with both sides communicating. So things like that really help a vision therapist to kind of know, oh, this is what's going on, and here's the exercises that we can do to help. And it was hugely helpful. So as a parent, being aware of what's happening with your child and making sure that you know, is it a physical thing with the eyeball, or is it more of a brain processing thing? Kind of knowing that. And then also knowing your child and what's working for them at home and what's not working, and then teaming up with the people at school, because some things would require an IEP, which is an individual education program, and they would need some specific supports. And they're going to be experts in knowing all kinds of wonderful ideas to support your child. Some children may only need a 504, and a 504 is really more about a medical type situation where they might just need special kinds of glasses, or maybe they need extra light or less light, or those kinds of things. But they need a little bit less support, or it's more of a medical type support.
Right. Well, and I really appreciate you pointing out that a vision issue may not be, oh, well, things look blurry to me, or I can only see shadow, or I can't see at all. That there are things, and I think we think of things like dyslexia that are more commonly known, but there can be other issues as well, like your son had. So really paying attention at home to your child, and then getting that help.
Yes.
I bet a lot of people don't know that there's vision therapists out there that could help with things that aren't related to the eye itself. So I really appreciate you bringing that up and sharing that.
Sure.
And it seems like all of this really comes down to lots of communication and clear communication. Do you have tips for strategies so that parents have that good communication with their children, with their schools, their teachers, counselors, whomever in the school that they need to be in contact with?
Absolutely. I've worked with probably hundreds of teachers throughout my career, and I can tell you for sure that teachers have the biggest heart of gold of anywhere on the planet. They are amazing people, and they're there because, well, we all know they're not there because of the paycheck. That is for sure. They are there because they really care about kids, and they really love kids, and they want the world to be a better place, and they want kids to be successful. And they know that there's a lot of individual struggles of all people, and so teachers really do their best to do whatever we can to help kiddos. So as parent, and I've been in both situations as a teacher and a parent and administrator, the communication is so important. And most people communicate pretty good. It's like, how is my student doing? Here's an idea of what can happen. But I think the thing that is the most helpful is when teachers and parents become a team.
And it's really a partnership, isn't it?
It's a partnership for sure. And it's not like when parents go, you're not helping my kid enough. Sometimes teachers just don't know what else to do. So being an advocate to say, maybe we could try this and maybe we could try that, or let's do some additional research, because teachers have lots of answers, but they don't have all the answers. And parents have lots of answers, but we don't have all the answers either. So trying to combine what we have and really being a team and being positive and encouraging and helpful, those teachers will bend over backwards to do anything for your child. That is for sure. All the positive encouragement that we can give our teachers is going to go miles and miles worth of help.
And if you have difficulty, if you're trying to communicate and you feel like your child's needs aren't being met, or you have an IEP but it's not being followed, what advice would you give there?
Well, it's very important to be on the same page with the special education teacher if you have an IEP. If you're in a situation where your child's needs aren't being met, you can request a reevaluation of an IEP. They do those at least once a year, but you can also ask to have that updated, because it may be that the accommodations that were set in place in the last meeting are not working or not effective. So when we have an IEP meeting, we draw together all of the support. So that's their general education teachers, their special education teachers, parents, doctors, counselors, your vision therapist, all those people who have some sort of impact on the child. We all come together and discuss what's happening, what's not working, what is working. And sometimes, all the time, the child is also involved in these meetings. And we need to do a better job of asking our kids, what do you think you need to work better for you? Because they're brilliant and they will come up with some things that we grown-ups didn't even think of. So it's really important to ask them, like, what do you need? What's going to work for you? And letting them advocate for themselves. And then hearing, of course, what the experts say, and making sure that the accommodations or the things that are in place are effective and are working, and that everybody on the team knows how to do it, knows what that looks like.
Well, I'm also thinking, when you're talking about, you need to ask the child and figure out what is working for them, because there's learning that occurs during the school day at the school, but there's also learning that occurs from at home. There's homework and, that piece. And so what are some practical things that parents can do so that their child's environment is conducive to learning? Because I think that can vary. It's not a one size fits all either. That can vary depending on the child.
Absolutely. And this goes for all kids, but it's really important to have a good schedule. When kids get home, they need a snack and kind of a brain break to run, play, get some movement out for a little while. And then a specific place where they do homework, ideally somewhere close to an adult, so that there's help and support, and that you can make sure that any of their questions are answered. Also having some sort of organizational system close by, whether it's a small filing cabinet or a little box that they keep their things in, so that everything is together. And so it's not spread out, like some of it's in the bathroom or the living room or the bedroom or the, wherever they go outside. Like, who knows where kids are going to try to do their homework. Right. And then the dog eats it, all those things happen. And so having a specific place with all of their supplies, their pencils and pens and calculators and whatever they need, all there together, is super helpful. And then one thing that I wanted to mention, that this is helpful for parents and teachers. If there's a brain processing issue with your child's vision situation, but this is helpful for all children as they're growing because their brains are developing. Mm-hmm. One of the exercises that was most beneficial, and it helps with the brain development of everybody, is called doing a figure eight. And what that involves is having the child put their arms straight out in front of them and lock their hands together, and then creating a big sideways figure eight. And so that the child is going up and around on the other side, so that your body is the center of the figure eight. Mm-hmm. And then you create this figure eight, because what that does is it really strengthens the connection in the brain on the two halves of the brain, so that both parts of the brain are starting to work together, and it just strengthens those connections. and your child will do much better in all of their schoolwork, whether they have vision a situation or not. They're going to do so much better because both parts of their brain are working together. And it's a really, really cool, simple exercise for teachers and parents to have your children do. And it's fun. Just make a big figure 8 with both arms.
With both arms. Well, I wonder if that continues into adulthood. I know my exercise routine this morning had some of those built into it. So maybe I'm building connections too.
That's exactly right. And we need them. The older we get, the more we need.
That's right.
Any of those cross body things. So if you're raising your left hand and your right foot at the same time, it's forcing your both sides of the brain to work at the same time, which just wakes the brain up. Swimming, that's another cross body. So anytime half of your body is doing one thing, the other half is doing something else, that's a great thing because your brain's working together and it's fantastic.
Yeah. That's great information. So just quickly looking at, we may have maybe some teachers listening too. There's training and resources available for teachers to better support their students as well. Could you maybe share some of those things that are available to teachers and maybe other school staff as well?
Yes. If you probably every year, principals and administrators and even district leaders, school district leaders, provide training, and they'll often ask what types of training teachers want. So requesting those types of training for their professional development, you can talk to the special education teacher, also your school's counselor and psychologist are boatloads of information and resources for what's out there. They can tell you like afternoon trainings that are coming up, or they'll help you find experts that can come and talk to your school directly. And also there's looking up your state's support for people with disabilities. They often have a lot of programs, professionals that can be helpful. And then, of course, going to your eye doctor or your vision therapist, they are always helpful as well. So those things are changing, and but there's a wealth of resources out there for training and figuring things out a little bit more.
It's an ongoing process.
It definitely is.
Do you have tips for parents? I know you've given a few already to advocate for their child's needs, because I think that is something, it doesn't just happen once at the beginning of the year and you're done. Like there can be things ongoing that happen, or, happen the next, you had solved that in one grade and now they're in the next grade and you're going back and needing to advocate again. Maybe they've changed schools or something like that. Do you have tips for being proactive and advocating for your child?
Yes, of course. Teachers will have different ways of suggesting how they want to be able to communicate back and forth with you. One of the ones that's kind of typical is kind of a daily communication folder. So the child will have some kind of folder that they can kind of write, like, how did the child do? Was everything okay? And then parents can write back so that they are communicating back and forth through a folder that the child has. That kind of helps because sometimes emails can get lost. Teachers get a lot of emails and that can get lost. Mm-hmm. So that's a really good way. And then, of course, texting is super helpful. Some teachers have a special way to text that's not necessarily their personal number, but they can give like a specific number that you can contact, and they'll be able to get those. It'll kind of go to the top of the list, so to speak. So just making sure that you're communicating. If you've seen something that's starting to work for your child or that's not working as well, you can reach out to the teacher and say, hey, I noticed my child is doing better after they've eaten some protein, or, laid their head down for a couple of minutes or whatever it is. And just remember to keep that team, and that you're on the same team for this child, and keeping your communication positive and encouraging and supportive.
Right. Really, really encouraging that collaborative environment.
Yeah.
Well, Cindy, thank you so much. I think we've learned so much today. Having that early identification, whether it's a physical vision issue where there's a difficulty seeing, or whether it's another communication, internal brain working together type of issue that affects their vision, like identifying those things early and seeking to work with your schools, having that clear communication, being supportive, working as a team.
Yes.
I think that is so important for a child, because they'll feel like people aren't working against them. If they're struggling, like they'll feel like they have that support and that people are on their side, even if they're having, some struggles, because that's just part of school. There's all those different struggles that we have.
So and the child is always a part of the team.
Yep. Well, thank you so much again, Cindy. I appreciate you joining me again this year. You joined me last year when we were looking at school preparation. So I appreciate you coming back on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's such a joy to be here.
Oh, thanks.
And happy school year, everybody.
Yes, and next week we will continue with our theme, but we'll specifically be looking at college and the resources that are available to college students, actually for the next 2 weeks. So definitely tune back in and join us for those conversations. And we always encourage you to reach out if you have any questions or suggestions or stories to share with us. We always appreciate that. You can send those to us at contact@aftersight.org. And we can always get those. And if there's questions that we can answer for you, we can hopefully address those on some of the upcoming shows. As always, we encourage you and invite you to subscribe and rate and review our podcasts and listen to our other podcasts. We have several, the Blind Chick, Blind Sight, BLT, and our newest podcast, Game Changers, all focused on adaptive sports, which also might be of interest as we get into the new school year with our kids. So you can always find our podcasts. We're on all the major platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the platforms. You can find us there. And of course, you can find them on our website as well, which is www.aftersight.org. And we're on social media as well, so with our Facebook and Instagram pages. So definitely check us out on all those different things, whatever is your preferred method of connecting with us. And as always, we hope this information is helping you to navigate your life with vision loss.